Gracie here. Hello, everybody. I'm Jennifer Lee Chan from NBC Sports Bay Area, and it is the 3rd of July, and I probably won't record tomorrow, which is the 4th. I do hope that everybody has a very safe 4th. There's been crazy explosions in Northern California from that fireworks warehouse. There's been fires in people's houses, so please, please, please be careful. Home fireworks are fun, but please be careful. I don't know if any of you remember, but was it Jason Pierre-Paul who was holding on to like an M80 who lost fingers and had to be in the hospital. So please, yeah, let's not have any fireworks injuries, please. That goes for you out there. That goes for the team. I'm going to be safe and kind of hide. I'm a weird introvert when it comes to major events like this. I kind of like to be close friends, family, not one for big crowds. Interesting, right? Because what do I do for work? I go to places where there are huge crowds, which, are football stadiums. I did see that Fred Warner was at the soccer game at Levi's, and what a fun environment. I also do want to get to Valkyrie's game. If any of you have been to Valkyrie's game, I'm so jealous. It looks like such a great environment, and everybody that's been to games has said how incredible it is. So I'm really excited for the Valkyries at Chase Center. I definitely have to get to one of those games at some point. All right, so the last video, I talked about guys who I think will make an impact as rookies, and I do think it's going to be CJ West. I did talk about that in the last video. I think Michael Williams will also make an impact. Looking at the draft picks, I mean, a lot of guys, so many guys that are high draft picks that definitely could contribute. Michael Williams, obviously, top draft pick. That's why they chose him. They want him to be an impact on the defensive line, but he's going to there's less pressure on him now that they got Bryce Huff, which I think is a better environment for him. Like less pressure. Bryce Huff, Yetur Gross-Matos, Michael Williams obviously will be rotated in there as long as he stays healthy. So I think that's less pressure is great for a guy. Then he can surprise people. Always right, under promise, over deliver. Hopefully that's what happens. Alfred Collins, we hope he gets healthy. We hope to see him and maybe a glimpse of what he can do during training camp. 3rd round pick, Nick Martin, obviously has a chance to compete with D Winters for the spot next to Dre Green, where it used to be Dre Greenlaw and next to Fred Warner. This is the guy that they really believe will be the guy. So as much as they have said they like D Winters, could be a possibility that just doesn't work out and Nick Martin beats him out. He's got a lot of personality with his animal slippers. We'll see what happens during training camp, but it is a lot. Fred Warner is special, right? Fred Warner is a special guy. He got the green dot in his rookie year. And I remember, how kind of more quiet and timid he was until Quan Alexander came into the building. Once Quan came into the building and he was there, all bets were off with Fred Warner, and he was loud. And I remember when he changed numbers and we were in Denver for joint practices, and I overheard some of the Denver coaches say, "Who's that asshole who's number 54?" And we were like, "I don't know who that is." "Oh, it's Fred Warner. Change his number." So Nick Martin does have the chance to play right next to Fred Warner. Upton Stout, another 3rd round pick. He's a guy who they believe in that could be the nickel. He could play outside. He could play nickel. Fast guy. Interesting to see how the secondary pans out because there is a lot of flux there. We talked about CJ West. I think he's going to make an impact. And I think the guy who is going to make an impact on offense is Jordan James. Jordan James. Running back, not him. There's 2 Jordans. Jordan Watkins is the guy who I think has the bigger chance of making an impact on the offense. He just really looked fluid and comfortable and had connection with Brock Purdy during training camp. So I think Jordan Watkins is a guy to definitely keep your eye on during training camp. Jordan James is the other guy, another Jordan, another 5th round pick. 49ers, went through 4 running backs last year. Christian McCaffrey looks incredibly healthy. He looks fast. He looks, he doesn't need to push himself like I think he did 2 years ago before 2023. Because he came in halfway through the season, 2023, he really needed to get a ton of reps during training camp. And that's when he had the Offensive Player of the Year um, uh, award. And I think that he looks that fast and that bouncy as he did in 2023 when he had that great year, but he's not doing it as much. I mean, that OTAs, mini camp, training camp, he was, I feel like going 100% every single rep just to get the timing down, just to get, acclimated to Kyle Shanahan's offense. And now I think he doesn't have to do that. So we have seen bursts, but it hasn't been as consistent because he hasn't needed to be. And I think he definitely wants to stay healthy, of course. Jordan James has a chance to, get some reps in. But I do think they're going to rely a lot more on Christian McCaffrey and Isaac Guerendo. I think they really need to use Isaac Guerendo as a pass catcher, as relief for Christian McCaffrey not being out there the whole time. They need to not make Christian McCaffrey out there for every single offensive snap. I know it's hard for them to take him off the field, but it's something that I think has been discussed by a lot of people. I mean, he was out there every rep and didn't show any signs of wear and tear in 2023. It was in 2024 that it happened, off season. Obviously, everybody has nicks and bruises and issues at the end of a long season, but he didn't have any injuries at the end of that Offensive Player of the year. His, before the Madden cover and all of that Madden madness. So, I mean, yes, he's 2 years older, but he is a fanatic about staying healthy and recovery. So it's hard to take him off the field. It's hard for Kyle Shanahan on a third down to take him off the field. So if Isaac Guerendo can show that he's capable, maybe he does get more reps this year. And he is a better route runner, pass catcher than JP Mason. So maybe he gets an opportunity there. Marquise Siegel was working out on the side during minicamp. So I'm really interested to see how he kind of fits into the defense. Jason Pinnock, Richie Grant are guys that are also going to be there for safety. Marquise Siegel, another 5th-round pick, could get some playing time. If Jair Brown, he could bounce back. He could have a bounce back year. Malik Mustafa could get healthy, and we'll see how they meter him into working on the field. Marquise Siegel could be a special teams guy. He could make an impact on defense. But he is potentially, I do honestly think, though, that CJ West, out of all the rookies, is the guy who's going to make the biggest impact. Curtis Rourke, redshirt year. We'll see what he does. I think he'll, we won't see a ton of him, but we'll see a little bit of him maybe towards mid to end season. He'll maybe work in a little bit, just throwing. We'll see what he has to do. He's able to do. Connor Colby, it depends on how the offensive line plays. How fast can he pick it up? He is an Iowa guy. And we know about Iowa guys and how Kirk Ferentz runs a pro-style offense. So most of the guys coming out of Iowa have a higher rate of acclimation to the NFL. So there's potential that he could be out there. Obviously, Dominic Puni was a 3rd-round draft pick. So, there was more potential for him to get more reps, but I don't think anyone thought Dominic Puni was going to be a 17-game starter. So there's possibly there. Junior Bergen was brought in as a returner. And I know that Brent Boyer was a guy who, said, hey, I need this guy as a returner. He is explosive. I know that they had Jacob Cowing do it last year, but if Junior Bergen can show during training camp, during the preseason, that he is the guy that can light it up on returns, maybe he gets a shot to be on the 53. But I do think that he maybe doesn't make it. Just the way the roster is looking, I think, it depends on also, is it going to be Demarcus Robinson suspended? Is it going to be Brandon Ayuk? When is he going to be ready? So all of those timelines matter on who gets, the shot at being on the 53 when it comes time. So of all the rookies, I do think CJ West is the guy who does have the most potential to kind of surprise everyone and be the guy who's out there a lot. Michael Williams, I think no matter what, I think your 1st-round pick has to. But I do expect also some like some big jumps from guys like Ricky Pearsall, Jacob Cowing, who had not bad first seasons. I mean, Ricky Pearsall was shot on Labor Day weekend. So for him to even play last year is mind blowing. And so he's got a huge chance to make a big impact in 2025. And I'm sure we'll see that happen. Such a good kid, diligent, doesn't make the same mistake twice. I know he has the backing of the entire 49ers organization, but it's just, he needs to stay on the field. He needs to not miss time, miss reps like he did during OTA's minicamp. So we'll see how that pans out. But going into this July 4th weekend, we hope that everybody is safe and healthy and doesn't get into trouble and enjoys their family. Leave me a little comment in the comment sections. What are your favorite 4th of July memories? When I was younger, I'll give you one of mine. My family used to summer in St. Louis. That sounds awful, right? 90 degrees, 90% humidity, kind of like it was in Nashville last week for TEU. But my dad worked at the Muni, which is an outdoor theater that seats thousands of people, but it's so hot and humid and it's outside. But July 4th, they would always have a fireworks show over Forest Park. So if anyone's from St. Louis, I'm not from there, but my dad worked there during the summers. And so to see the fireworks right overhead every 4th of July when we were there, because we would be in the park, they'd have a show, they'd do the fireworks at the end of the show. So always got to see that. So that was always fun. Fun childhood memory of the 4th of July. Also, our dogs going crazy. Grew up with golden retrievers, hated fireworks. Awful. Just like give them doggy downers. So sad. But I love fireworks. And it was always fun to see them. I actually did fly home on the night of July 4th at one point. And what's amazing about seeing fireworks from the air is how low they are. Because when you're on the ground, you're like, oh my gosh, they're so high. But when you're in an airplane, how low to the ground fireworks are. You don't ever think about it, but when you actually see it, it's kind of shocking. Anyways, those are my 4th of July memories for y'all. A little personal insight, but I hope y'all are well. And let me know if there's anything you want me to cover. I'm going to start going through my camera roll and posting stuff from last year or before. Please leave a comment of who you'd like to see out of my camera roll. I've got a ton of pictures, a ton of videos, and I'll post those up, to bridge the gap between now and the start of training camp. All right, so leave me a comment, let me know. Please like, please subscribe, and tell your friends. Thanks so much for watching, and have a happy and safe 4th of July.